Mm. Mm. You get a lot of cold, Ben? You get a lot of cold, a lot of driving?
Cold?
No, the driving.
Oh, yes.
You get a lot of order.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah. Is this okay, Miss Kristen?
Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Upasaka days, keyed into 4 phases of the lunar cycle, tradition of observing special days of fasting and religious observance known as
Osada.
Upasaka days predates the rise of Buddhism in India. The full moon day, considered the most auspicious of the 4, is the day the Theravada Buddhists are more likely to visit a Buddhist temple, perhaps bringing flowers, incense, or oil for the lamps as an offering. Some of the Osaka days are marked with special celebrations, such as Vaishaka.
That's okay. Let's stop there. Okay. You can stop there. Yeah. You heard about this one, right? You know about this day, right?
Yeah. But, well, is that the same as Puya Day?
Yeah, it's talking about the same thing, like, I think Vaishaka is like the Sanskrit for the Vasa and Pali. So it's talking about that.
Yeah.
And Stephen, can you hear them?
Yes, fine.
Okay.
I've never called it that.
I can hear.
Like Upasaka, I think has to do with like the moon phase in general. I think Koya is specifically the full moon itself.
So basically, in the lunar calendars, they count for the first day of the first day of the lunar month, and the 15th day. So there's a special one is completely no moon. The second one is the full moon one, the 15th one. So they will go to temple to do what we call 1 day of observance for 8 precepts. Remember we talked about that? Right? Ben, you know about that? The 8 precepts?
Yes, I'd have to go through them once again, because I don't have them memorized.
Sam, you know about 8 precepts?
I don't remember what the extra ones are. I know that, yeah, during the holiday, they do a few extra ones for the lay people, but I don't remember what.
So the extra 5 is no high seating, no food at inappropriate times, and no cologne or perfumes or.
No high bed.
Oh, high bed.
Yeah.
No high
No high bed.
bathing, bathing?
No bed. Bed. High bed. And like queen size or queen size bed. King size or queen size bed.
You have to like sleep on the.
Oh, sleeping close to the ground.
No, it's simple. No, you don't need to.
Yeah,
You're
it's
not
not
supposed
big.
to sit to slide down the simple bed. That's just the queen size or the queen size. King size, queen size. You know why?
Trying to look more like a monk.
No, let's try to live in a simple life.
Simple,
That's
yeah,
all.
minimal.
Yeah, wear the garden, wear the flower, or wear the perfumes. Again, this is the same idea. Why is that? Why?
Because those are all just extra unnecessary things by
That's
the
the point.
standards of the Buddha and.
Yeah, get to have a simple life. That's all. Try to have a simple life. Yeah.
When does this happen?
Oh,
During-
usually the first day of the lunar moon and the 15th day of the lunar moon. Right, based on the moon, in the past they didn't have electricity, so they based on the moon phase, right? When they was completely out of the moon, so that's the first day of the lunar month, and the 15th is the full moon.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
so
new
they
moon and the full moon.
yeah they mainly and of course other day too, but they are the two main one. Other day like before the Buddha birthday celebration, they do that, especially in both Mahayana and Theravada tradition too. Yeah. Okay, Sam, please.
The day begins with a ritualized taking of the 8 precepts, which meant lay people to a higher form of moral discipline and resemble the rules adopted by novice monks. during the course of the day, those in attendance, many of whom have donned white clothing for the day, listen to sermons, make offerings to the Buddha, spend time seated on the ground reading devotional literature. Such activities are regarded as highly meritorious. These days of special.
No, that's okay. Stop there, please. Yeah, wait, somebody, please.
Just talking about what the lay people,
Bạn
they
hai thầy nói xuống.
try to take a
Hai
few
sư
rules like the novice monks, and yeah, they just wear the white when they listen to the Dharma talks and read scriptures, make
Yeah.
offerings.
Well, I just got locked in the basement.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know why? Why do they wear the white clothes
To be simple.
at the temple? Why?
Purity.
Purity.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, for lay people here, they wear this type of can say that the long dress
Yeah,
one is again the similar way.
yeah, although ours aren't white, they're like, I thought they were gray, but everyone tells me they're actually really light blue, and I'm just kind of colorblind, so I can't tell them from light blue from gray.
It's just like a variation.
Yeah, they're like kind of
Mhm.
bluish gray, I guess.
And Stephen, you follow and Stephen,
Yes, Mo Phật, I do say.
Ruyai rồi,
Require.
require. Yeah, please, yeah, please.
You want me to read?
This day, please.
Okay. These days of special observance also allow the laity, I don't know, to move away from the distractions and anxieties of the life in the world and approximate for a limited time the higher ideals of Buddhist practice that characterize the Sangha.
Okay. He's so hyper. Okay, so you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, during the day, right? During the weekday, the day people is so busy. The business with family obligation and so forth. So based on that day, one day of observance of the eight precepts to the Karma temple, to let go of those responsibility, to those distractions. That's the whole idea. It's like the what do you call in prison Sabbath day, right?
the Sabbath
Oh, like
day.
Sabbath
Day,
for
right?
Jews.
But the whole month, right? Sometimes it's
That's
whole month.
Lenten season.
Not one day, right?
Yeah, they do it for like a few weeks.
2 weeks,
Like 3 weeks is Catholics mostly.
Yeah, I think it's like leading up to what is that?
3 weeks.
Easter. Yeah, they do it from they do it from Ash Wednesday until Good Friday or Easter. Yeah, they do it for like 2 or 3 weeks.
But you don't give up you just like pick your item of choice and say, I'm not gonna have that.
Yeah.
And
Well, depending on how traditional they are, they can be like stricter or less strict. But like
Only eat fish on Fridays.
Mhm.
well, for Catholics, they're supposed to only eat fish like the whole Lent season, but most of them break that rule, except for like the really strict old ones.
Mhm. Yeah, and
it's
Stephen.
no meat on Fridays.
Yeah, and Stephen, can you read the next one, please?
Yes, Mo Phật. One of the most widely practiced ideals throughout the Buddhist world is that of dana, or donation, and its attendant virtue, generosity. The highest paragon of this virtue is the Buddha who, during his many previous lives as a bodhisattva, sacrificed his possessions and even his own flesh to benefit other beings while simultaneously perfecting himself in the ideal of non-attachment. Dana is thus tied to two more fundamental Buddhist ideals: compassion for other beings and insight into the truth of non-self.
Yeah, summarize, please.
That one, I think it's just much of explaining how individual is try to concentrate more of giving and donating to help others just for the sake of others, and instead of just thinking about yourself. And that alone is the the most kind of like highly guarded that will get you merit in regards to, you know, better karma when you always are willing to help others than yourself. So, most of them.
So, Miss Christie, you remember some past life the Buddha, he sacrificed his life all, you know, his story, family story.
Well, he sacrificed himself and parts of his flesh for,
For the tiger.
yeah, was it the mother tiger?
The mom tiger.
The mom.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, you know, the story that he cut his flesh to the eagle. You know what that story?
You told us
Sam.
one time, but I forgot. It's-
Sam, you know that?
Mm.
So one eagle chased after a pigeon. So a pigeon flew to the Buddha, I mean, that his pastime. And so the eagle will say, if you protect the pigeon, I don't have any meat to consume. I don't have enough food to sustain my body. You rescue one, but you starve one. How could you be compassionate? So the Buddha said, okay, that's okay. So how much meat you need? So the eagle said, okay, I need your meat. So he's cut his flesh and give to the eagle. And one of the story there. Not easy. As many lives, many sacrifice he have done again for others too. Okay, yeah, please. Oh, Ben, have you read it, Ben? Have you read that yet? Not yet. Okay, go ahead, please. Given
the importance of religious renunciation in the history of Buddhism, the great emphasis placed on the value of lay donations is not surprising, for without them, the Sangha could not survive. In return for their various forms of provision, supporters of the Sangha gain merit, while there is a potential conflict between the ideal of selflessness and the goal of accumulating merit, which leads to better rebirths. Buddhist tradition repeatedly stresses the value of giving freely with a sense of serene joy.
You follow?
Yes, sir. Again, well, there was even a monk on YouTube that was talking about the notorious giving, because it's like, how does the Sangha run without our donations? You know, there's light bills. You got into the business aspects of it. There's light bills, there's water bills. And so through our selfish donation of things, we're able to fund the Sangha and also give the merit so it can continue and we can continue to bless other people. It's like the good, it's very good.
Thank you. Again, everywhere, every tradition, right? The lay people support the religious organization, whether Buddhism, Christianity, and so forth. There's both material and in return, right? The religious order, like the pastor, the priest, the monks, to provide this spiritual support, the two-way support, mutual support. Otherwise, they could not build this temple.
Right.
Yeah, this is a lot of work for them, a lot of contribution for them.
Some people don't have money, so how can they contribute to the
They can
Sangha?
walk. They can walk around the temple. It's very, yeah. So it's not only in the monetary terms. As well as someone contribute, whether it's their physical work, their paperwork.
Like all the people doing like the flowers and setting up like water and like the layman who do you sell that swing set that they built? One of the guys.
How you been? Please.
The man who built that.
We have some chair here. Oh,
stuff all around the temple,
how you
fixing
been?
stuff, building stuff.
George, please. This can have chair over here. How your daughter? She'll come here. She'll go to downtown tomorrow.
I think she's doing the
night market tomorrow.
Okay, she love with the team, right? She come here every Tuesday?
It's like the whole like.
Not the last 2 weeks. because I've been out of town.
Yeah, it's like.
Asian, yeah.
Yeah. So how you been?
Good.
Everything's okay?
Yeah, it's a lot of travel.
For your
Yeah.
job.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, so again, that the mutual support. Again, they can work in the garden everywhere, anywhere, cook the food, doing the paperwork, and so forth. Any contribution that could be helpful.
Now, when you say I can't pronounce it.
Meritorious.
Meritorious,
Act.
will it guarantee them a better rebirth in Buddhist tradition?
Here,
or-
actually, let's put this way. So, Sam, can you respond to that? How could you gain the merit when you support the temple and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, it gives you better karma or merit, and that helps your future rebirth, but it also just helps because like the world in general is helped out and all the other people in the world are helped out in general. Like, I mean, that's kind of how like the good karma comes back to you. It's not really like transactional, like you do X so you get Y. It's more like you put the good out there, and so there's just like net more good out there. And so that benefits you. And a lot of times you actually, when you do meritorious stuff, a lot of times like there's this thing called transferring merit, where you're like, I don't even care if I get benefit from this merit, I'm doing it for other people. So I hope if I do something nice for the temple, that it doesn't help me, I hope it helps like my dead grandpa or something.
Okay.
So Miss Kristen, so how can you explain that?
I mean, you gain merit through dana, the generosity, sila, which is your morality, and bhavana, which is meditation. And so you create these merits to turn around and to try to bless others. But like Sam says, it kind of sets up better conditions for more good to come into your life. I mean, because ideally what you're doing is removing the selflessness and kind of understanding like Sam said, that net of of how the generosity helps everyone else, which in turn kind of.
Yeah, and the Buddha talked about, he was like, there's different levels of giving, and he was like, giving, wanting to get something back is still good, but it's less good than when you give wanting to get nothing back, and that's like the maximum good is when you give without any like thought about getting something back.
Kelly, how you been? How your teaching?
Good, we're on fall break,
Oh,
starting.
fall break.
Yes,
Oh, that's
today's
good.
the last day of school.
So today you bring the little one here or go with her sister over there?
She'll come here to
Oh, good. That's nice. We have some preparation in the front there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Anyway, this is in both tradition, Mahayana and Theravada tradition mentioned about unconditional giving. That's when we give out without any condition. That's we create more merit than others. For example, the love of the parents to the children, unconditional one, right? But if you say, hey, remember today I buy a book for you, check mark. Oh, won't be unconditional, right? Yeah, so that's as well. Okay, so Ruyara, right? So Lukaya, you follow Lukaya? Yeah.
How do you genuinely practice unconditional love though? Because it's like it's one thing to be like I want to unconditionally love someone, but it's harder to put into practice. Kind of like how Sam said, like what do you say? Like if you do something you expect it in return, like it's still like good that you did it, but like at heart it's not the best. But like how do I genuinely unconditionally love?
Yuri, you want to respond? How? How can you give unconditional love? You have girlfriend, right? And you know.
Unconditional love, like, I know one way, like you said, you treat everybody like your brother, your sister, and your mother and your father. You would, you do things for them. not because, you know, you expected things from it, but because, you know, you just love them, so you have to, you know, love everybody as if they're siblings or your family.
Miss Nia, you have any idea how can you how can you give that unconditional love?
Holding on to a lack of expectation,
That's the point. Mhm.
because if you're expecting anything, you don't have a right to expect, you know?
Mhm.
So that leads to disappointment, which starts a cycle of bad mojo between you and the other person.
So George, as a parent or as a father, how could you provide that unconditional love when they mess around?
So that's hard.
It's hard, right? Mhm.
You have to, usually it's hard because of you, not because of them,
Mm.
like your reaction to it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of part of being stuck here in duality, kind of expecting things to be transactional. So when we put ourselves into the position of doing something unconditionally, just, you know, walking by a donation box and going, okay, I'm just whatever this is, every last penny in my pocket is going there and walking away, not saying, waiting for a plaque or a thank you letter or your tax deduction. But yeah, unconditional is, we live in a conditioned world. And so that's why the idea of unconditional is so foreign to us.
It's a pretty good question. How about Stephen? How could you provide that type of unconditional love to your wife and daughters then?
It's one of the tough one that, just like everyone's discussing, is very due. You literally have to train your mind. Like for an example, kids, you know, sometimes kids will always talk back to you. And obviously I would get agitated sometimes with, you know, my daughter talking back or not listening. But at the end of the day, turn around, it's like all I think is just she's my daughter, you know, and whatever she does, she's still going to be my daughter. And when I keep that in mind, um, I do my best, obviously, to teach her and just cross my finger that she follows. And of course, you know, everything that hopefully she's learning from most of her classes as well, you know, that she retained the teaching and basically try her best to apply it. So, but yes, it is very tough. Motherfucker.
Kaylee, it's pretty tough too, right? It's not easy to give unconditional love, especially the mess up one, right?
The love part is easy. It's always easy to love her. It's not easy to like her decisions and choices. But that's part of the love, is helping to guide and hoping that, you know, they shall understand what good choices look like.
Mm. Yeah, you follow their response.
I'm following, but it's like for me, I'm thinking like, for instance, if someone leaves your life, let's say your long-term partner or something, you know, they leave, and it really puts that unconditional love to the test, because it's like your first instinct is to bash them or this and that. How do you remain in the place of unconditional love throughout, like people coming in and out, like leaving in a place of love instead of like hate? How do you stay consistent with that?
That's what in Buddhism we talk about no self. When we love other people, if we don't have any attached to ourselves, much easy for us to have that kind of unconditional love. If we still identify ourselves, hi, you love, if you love me, I will love you, otherwise get out. That's not. This is like about the relationship with the spouse, the children, the parents, and so forth. If we let go of our attachment to this ego, it's much easier for us to care for the not only the love but also the support, right? Whenever we need help, we just step out and help out them without any question, without any request or asking back. That's so critical. That's why when we have that type of understanding and recognition, it's much easier for us to step out to help others. Yeah. no matter what, if you still have some sort of attachment with that kind of hidden requirements, hidden theme, right? You care for me, I will care for you. Otherwise, forget that. That is not. But of course, we're human. So most of the time, we would train, right? Somehow it's imprinted in our mind, and that's happened in our society, even in the family circle. So that we get used to that. So when we do meditation, we let go of our ego, let go of our attachment to ego. It's much easier for us to help other people, whether we care for them, love for them, so forth, in that kind of unconditional one. Yeah.
Well, and I think the Buddhist practice also has it. And if you've not been practicing for long, there's probably a gap in that in the understanding. But once you really get the idea and the feeling, really understand the no self, people coming in, sure, you'll be upset, people come and go, but you understand the ultimate reality where people don't, in ultimate reality, people don't come and go. These are all forms that kind of arise, and it's you putting the meaning onto it that makes you feel something, but it takes some time and cultivation to really understand that no self and the non-attachment before you can really wrap your brain around that. So I think kind of that question you're answering will come to you the more you practice.
Yeah,
Yes.
naturally.
Yeah.
Now, you don't force yourself. You don't
Yeah.
remind, hey, let go of ego. No, you don't need that. The more you practice meditation, the easier for you to let go of that kind of.
But it's something that's worked on and cultivated and trained. It's not just something like, coming to class and saying, okay, no self, non-attachment, so people can come and go. It's not something you can just intellectually understand and put into practice. It's something you have to practice little bit by little bit, and over time it accumulates, and then those things kind of really click in, make sense, and the more you cultivate, the more stable you will be, and the waves of people in coming and going, you're not going to associate with that. You'll associate with being
Yeah.
something.
And also the understanding too, go hand in hand with the practice, understand of the impermanence principle of relationship, right? So probably one day you have that person, and the next day that person turn to your back. Turn back to you. So if you understand that, okay, one day they so friendly, another day they have the type of hostile attitude to you. So it's normal if we see that. Am I more calm? Otherwise, we get mad. Hey, you friend to me many years. Now what happened? This happened, right? It happened to many people. It may surprise, and it me more myself, because we expect that person should be friendly to us forever, but nothing lasts forever.
Yes, impermanence.
Yeah. Is that answer your question?
I understand that in the concept of no attachment, but I always get confused on like no self and no ego. I'm asking a lot of questions. I'm sorry, but do you mind going into depth about the no self and no ego?
It takes time. One more time. When we focus on the breath, we focus on the object of meditation. Much easier for us to let go of any attachment, not to ourselves, but whichever thing we attach to. So we build up that skill eventually and naturally. We don't force ourselves. Hey, you need to let go of our ego every time. It will come naturally. Yeah. Okay. From time to time, we talk about that now. Say, okay. Yeah. All right. Let's go back to here. Oh yeah, please. Yeah, right there, please. Yeah.
There's a strong chance you'll turn on a bright light.
Is it that one?
I think you got it. Yeah.
100% A+.
Usually when the kids go.
Is that this part,
yeah,
right?
turn on like
This part or the next one? This part? Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
A consequence of this emphasis on intentionality is the value placed on rejoicing at the benefit that others will gain from being generous. In other words, an individual can gain merit simply by feeling glad when others gain merit, a great advantage for those who have little to give themselves.
Mrs. Friend, what do you think?
So strive to feel joy when you see others doing well or doing good acts.
Mhm.
And then just by rejoicing in their giving, you're also accumulating merit.
You know why?
Because if you're experiencing gratitude, you tend to have, it helps give you a better demeanor, I think.
Yeah. Mhm.
I think it gives you a better, it improves your thought process, it improves your speech, it improves the way you think, it improves the way you live. Because instead of being internal or being negative, you're expressing gratitude.
Yeah, let's say you drive a car with the friends. So somehow in his car, her car, they have some food there. So somehow they see the homeless guy on the street, and so they pick up food and pass. Actually, a person hesitate. They don't know whether they want to give their food to the homeless. But you say, hey, come on, give to them. With your encouragement, right? They will do that. And you share the merit in that way.
Yeah.
At that moment, the moment that they still hesitate to do something good. But if you give them a push, you get the merit there. You're part of the work that way the good come out there, and vice versa. Let's say if right, if where someone try to steal, but they still hesitate to steal, but if you give them push, that the bad come out too. You work together. It's work the same way. Make sense now?
But sympathetic joy is it a parameter?
What's that? Yeah, one of the profession.
Perfection. So that's, I mean, that's as humans, it's kind of like training your nervous system. Because, you know, we all have like these mirror neurons anyways. That's just something that we have as human. Well, if you start training and keying in your neurons into experiencing the joy of other people, then of course that also kind of elevates consciousness or elevates everyone, that if you see someone else get something wonderful and you're excited for them because once you really understand that there's not a separation, that other person's joy is actually your joy too. Right.
So Kelly, you train the student, right? Sometimes you train them to encourage each other to do good deeds and so forth, right?
Yes, and then when one of them wins something, they always have to say congratulations to the winners.
Everyone congratulations together. So, yeah.
Yes.
They did applause so that they have that type of encouragement to do good deeds. That's the same way, in a similar way. Yeah.
I want to interject on that.
Yes.
In the Western world, we're taught that we're all separate and we're all individualistic and everybody's different. And so that creates a lot of jealousy and who's doing better. But when we see that we're all one and we're very similar, it changes your perspective.
Yeah,
I think that plays into the unconditional love thing.
Yeah,
See, everybody is basically like an extension of yourself. It's easier to track them. But that's literally you. And they're.
Rukhaya, you follow?
I can't really hear whoever's speaking in the back.
Really? Can you hear and Stephen? Can you hear clearly?
Yeah, I can hear a little bit. Yes.
So this kind of rejoin the good conduct or good merit order, it will counterback jealousy. Especially when you work with the children, right, Sam? Right. So if somehow you give good treatment for one student but not others, they will complain.
Yeah,
Unfair, right? You treat
Yeah.
them, right?
definitely.
Uh-huh.
The other day, they were jealous that, I gave Long a birthday present. I'm like, it's literally his birthday.
Yeah, especially it's easier to train the children in that way, so that when they get older, yeah, everyone has different type of jealousy, but at least this is the Buddhist path to overcome or to transform that kind of jealousy.
An extension of this idea can be found in the practice of merit transfer. Conventional Buddhist teaching emphasizes that one's intentional deeds determine the future course of one's rebirth, and that each individual is thus responsible for his or her own progress along the middle path. However, the practice of transferring accumulated merit to benefit others became well established throughout a diversity of Buddhist communities.
Yeah, you can stop that. It's still hard. Yeah, we can stop that. You understand that? You heard about that before?
Yeah.
How is that? How we can transfer the merits?
I know usually every ceremony we have, there's a section where we do that. And it's just sort of a tradition, I guess, at this point, that that's always a thing we do.
Yeah.
At the Theravada temple, we have like a water canister that symbolizes the merit, and then everybody touches the water, well, somebody touches, and then you touch the other person, but everybody touches the water, and you do this symbolic gesture of transferring from the water into this.
Or like the light the candle,
Yeah.
right? If you have the candle, right? It's lighting, and you light, you put the light from your candle to others. Your candle, your light candle is still there, and the more you share with your light with others, the brighter the place. That's the whole idea. You won't lose anything, but you brighten the place. Make sense, Sherry? Make sense, Rukhaya, you follow?
I'm listening. Yeah.
Yeah, you understand that? Yeah, that's what we
Yes.
call transfer the merit, in a symbolic way. Yeah, and also in the material life, for example, let's say your parents, you work hard, right? To earn income to buy some food for your children. You share that merit with them in the same way, right? Okay, yeah. It is toys.
It is thus common to dedicate the benefit of an act of donation to all beings. Merit transfer is also especially identified with rights for deceased relatives, since it is believed that departed loved ones may be reborn as pretas, restless and malevolent spirits who suffer constantly from hunger and thirst. Buddhist funeral ceremonies and commemorative rituals commonly include rites that transfer merit to the deceased to help them gain a better rebirth. Such rituals are believed to benefit the living by placating malevolent spirits thought to cause misfortune and illness.
Yeah, you follow.
So it's got like mantras or.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretas, is that what they mean, like a hungry ghost?
Yeah. And how it work then? Sam, how it work when we decide the mantra, sutra, and so forth, and transmit it to the hungry ghosts, and how could they get those got merit? How?
Well, the hungry ghosts, like, they're stuck in the state of being a hungry ghost because of some kind of attachment or greed or craving. And because they're stuck in that mindset, when you do the chanting and the prayers, it's to try to like bring them out of that mindset. And when you do generous things on their behalf, it's to kind of cancel out like the greed somewhat. And because they'll never be satisfied by it's kind of like it's like a mirror of how in life, you can never really be satisfied if you're stuck in a mindset of greed. the only way to really break out of a mindset of greed is by generosity. It's like a reflection of that. So it's like you do the prayers and the donations and things like that for the hungry ghosts to kind of bring them out of the greedy state.
Miss Kristen, how could you see it more practical in the practical sense that when you do the chanting, this recitation, that you can transfer that method to the busy one, a person hungry one?
I mean, that's the part of like, whether it's chanting or meditating, that's all under, I guess, bhavana, which is the meditation, which is merit creating anyway. So when you cultivate yourself and you think about, or, you transfer that hope, and I guess what their throats are real little, it doesn't take much to feed them.
There's like a few different descriptions, but yeah, one of them is they have tiny throats, and
Yeah.
giant bellies.
Yeah, and so it doesn't take much.
So George, you do the nighttime story for the little girl?
Yeah.
Every day?
Yeah.
How long? 5 minutes, 10 minutes before she go to sleep?
Oh, she doesn't even.
Hey, I have a question.
We tell her it's time like.
How long?
It's, I mean, 10 minutes maybe.
10 minutes, okay. You understand what I'm talking about? Nighttime story, right? Remember? So she lied out there, and you did the story, so calm her mind down. So there's a recitation. Imagine that someone passed away, like you tell the story for them. You decide the mantra, you decide the sutra, and so forth to calm the mind down, so that they can take better future rebirth. It's work the same way. It makes sense now, more practical. Yes, and Stephen, you follow? Go ahead.
Yeah. I understand about when you're chanting and trying to help out with, like, for an example, like Sam was saying, like the ghosts there and everything, and of course for the spirit that have passed. But how about when there's some time when we chant for our loved one that is still with us but is about to go, and the family start chanting and everything right at that last moment before the family member leaves us? I mean, does that help too in a sense, or sometimes I feel that it can also detriment. I don't know, I could be wrong.
The same way. Let's put it this way. While we're here, let us just name someone. I mean, that's some great people, right? Like like the Indian one, the
Muhammad Khan, Gandhi.
Gandhi. Yeah. Whenever we talk about his name, right? The one who advocates for non-discrimination, equal rights, and so forth. We're so delightful when we hear about his name. About when we talk about Hitler, right? Through his name, and no one want to listen to those names. So there's the mantra. And Stephen, you understand now? So the mantra is special word, the special keys. You can say the password of the Buddha and Bodhisattva. They generate that type of mantra through the pureness mind, through the wisdom too. That's why when we say that mantra, it's so powerful. I think your daughter, she play music instrument, right?
Yes.
Right. If she really focus on that type of playing, it's so powerful. It may inspire the spirit of everyone. Like when they play piano, when they play organ, music and so forth, right? So to give them some kind of encouragement, some kind of uplifting spirit. So there's the chanting. Make sense, and Stephen?
Yes,
So
yes,
at that time, the moment that there's someone going to pass away, when you decide or change that mantra, it gives them the kind of strong encouragement, a strong blessing from the Buddha words, so that they could pass away peacefully and go to the better path. Right, Sam? You want to say something?
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, it also kind of makes me think of how, like even animals, like if an animal hears like calming noise, it can calm an animal down even.
Well, it's super interesting if you actually look at the science on, like, I was just listening to Andrew Huberman this morning. like how your respiration changes, your heart rate, and all you have to do is listen to music or whatever. And it biologically will alter, like it's very quantifiable, but
Yeah.
it'll alter
Even
your.
even the sound animal sometimes is scary, right? But sometimes for the sound the bird is so lovely. So the sound may affect our mentality and spirituality too. And Stephen, you follow?
Yes, I
The
understand.
chanting that are so pure, so wise. That's why it's affect tremendously to the spirit. That's why we do the chanting in the morning to develop that type of uplifting spirit.
I've actually done chanting for animals before. I think they like it.
Yeah.
Like, I go to the Iroquois Park all the time, and when I see the deer, I'll just sit down and start chanting, and
They come to you.
they stop and listen, yeah. And whenever
Yeah.
the peacock was at the mountain temple, whenever I sang for him or chant, his like tail would open up.
Okay, that's nice. And Stephen, I answered the question, right?
Yes, yes, understand it.
That's why our ear affected by those type of sound, good sound, bad sound, frightened sound, beautiful sound, and so forth. We have to set it out those positive sound, encouragement sound, to uplifting our spirit. Otherwise, this will be horrible. Okay, so let's move on then. That's a great question then. Let's see here. Okay, yes, Sherry, Sherry, you done? You done? You done? You done reading?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah, Miss, Miss Kristen?
Oh, ideal of generosity has also been the guiding principle for Buddhist games. Royal patronage has been a major factor in the maintenance and expansion of Buddhist institutions. Given the assumed congruence between accumulated merit and worldly success, royal legitimacy has often been closely linked with such patronage. Thus, those individuals who are worthy of kingship have, by the logic of karmic consequences, invariably performed many good deeds in the past and will continue to do so in the future. Some Sri Lankan kings were even said to have compiled merit books, which recorded their many donations to the Sangha, and these were read to them on their deathbeds to ease their mind as death approached.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your checkbook.
Checkbook. Our checkbook they said, right?
So what were they writing in these books again?
So these kings, the kings would build the temples and fund the temples and, I think it even goes all the way back to maybe where they had the different villages would build them pretty royal accommodations, even though he was very simple, but yeah, so they, since that's such great merit, and of course, when you're a king, you're not always making merit, your wars and stuff like that, so on their deathbed, some of these Sri Lankan kings would have, I'm joking, karmic checkbook, but that all their donations, I built this temple and whatever it was, and then so when they were dying, the monks or whoever would come and sit there and read what all their good deeds were to keep them.
It's understandable to want to be comforted on your deathbed, but I know there's also some Buddhist stories. I don't remember which person it was. It was like a famous monk. It might have been Bodhidharma, but it also might have been one of the Buddha's disciples. So like, there was like a king or a rich person. I think it was a king. It was like, I built like this huge temple. How much merit did I earn? And the master was like, none, because you wanted too much. Yeah.
Many years ago, I attend the Indiana governor's pass away ceremony in court. You know about him? Yeah, you know about him? I forgot his name. The one that
The
passed.
governor of Indiana,
Yeah,
okay.
I forgot his name. probably more than 10 years ago. So somehow they say that they celebrate his life instead of mourning, instead of crying, but they say they celebrate his life. Why is that? And that tradition is, I think, is very
Well,
wonderful.
I think that's just in general, like a zeitgeist right now that people are switching, or in the West, switching from mourning, which I guess that comes from the Jewish tradition. The sitting Shiva.
Yeah. And Stephen, you follow, right?
Yes, more often.
The Buddhist tradition, when the family members attend that type of funeral service, we encourage them that please don't cry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you heard about that, right?
Why no crying?
Attachment.
Oh.
And also, yeah, I think it's beautiful when we talk about doing. I mean that we can give them the last prayer, right? Can give them, we can celebrate their life. So when they pass away in with that type of high spirit, a positive spirit, they would go to the good destination
I
instead
think
of mourn about them.
one way that like a lot of Western people who aren't Buddhists, like they don't think of it as transferring merit, but it's kind of the same thing or similar whenever they do something like, donate, like you'll see like a plaque at like a library or like on a bench or like a tree. It was like, this was built in honor of so-and-so who died. Even like a lot of important like buildings, like colleges and stuff, like they're named after someone who died and their family did it in their honor.
Even at university, right? Somehow they put the pledge for the one that donate a lot of money to the school, to the library, and so forth. This is the same way. But of course, in Buddhist view, it's just we can say that that's not unconditional one, but at least make the one that going to pass would be happy, to be delightful, so that they can go to the high destination or the pleasant destination. That's what's the whole idea. Yeah. So it's so in general, right? They do this. They celebrate someone passed away, or most of the time.
Like I said, I think the tides are turning here in the West, where it used to be very much you go to mourn, but now like it's turned into a celebration.
Oh, really?
The culture has changed where you go to funerals and they don't call it a funeral or a mourning. They do it a celebration of their life, and try to have it a little more uplifting than I think
that's why I'm so surprised when I attend that service for the former governors, Indiana governor. Yeah, I'm so surprised. So this is new trend, you think so?
Yeah, it's I would say it's fairly new.
Really new? Oh, really?
Well, I mean, it's in my life, I think when I was younger, it was, or anything that I had ever visited, it was, about mourning versus nowadays, they call them celebrations.
Okay.
Please,
About Rukaya, you attend some funeral service before?
Yeah, I think in Black culture it's a little bit different because even as a kid, usually we'll have a funeral service, but then afterwards we go, all the family, everybody gathers, we eat, we celebrate, we dance, and then usually on the anniversaries of whoever passed away, we'll let out balloons and we'll have like not a party, but a celebration. So I don't think it's new in Black culture, but we do kind of celebrate the lives instead of really mourning, if that makes sense.
But but in our Vietnamese Buddhist tradition, within the 4 days, the family member are not supposed to go out to play.
I'm too emotional. I cry every.
Why is that?
I'm too emotional. I cry every single even if I don't like the person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. So that's tradition. Yeah. So yeah, so during that 400 days of mourning, you encourage them to do the prayer instead of having fun. So even in the Taoist tradition, the children, if the parents pass away, the children need to wait at least 3 years to get married. In the
which
Taoist
tradition?
tradition, 3 years.
In which tradition?
Taoist tradition.
Oh, the Taoist.
Yeah,
3
3 years in order to get married.
To make sure they're not
Play around
running out to
play.
fill the hole in their heart,
Yeah,
pick the wrong
so
person.
that they can remember the one that passed, especially parents. Mm. Okay, so thank you. So this is time up, and so.